Yo, welcome back. I wanted to take some time and walk through the Razer Wolverine app as we just dropped the video for our review of the V3 controller that just came out. You can get the app on PC or Xbox, so it doesn't matter if you have just the Mac, you should have one of those. Go to search in your Xbox, search Razer. You're going to see that app pop up right here, Razer Controls Setup. I already installed it. Let's launch it. Going here, I have two profiles set up. By default, you're just going to have that one, which has nothing configured on the controller already. And this is one of the things that I kind of ding some of these pro controllers for, is not having anything by default for maybe your back buttons or whatnot. But Razer actually does a pretty good job at letting you customize what your back paddles are going to be on the go, even without the app. When you go in here, you want to configure your controller, click on the profile, click edit, and then you can assign buttons. You can assign buttons for the top two claw buttons and the back four buttons, but you can't reconfigure any of the buttons on the front. The cool thing is that you can basically utilize any of the buttons here on the front of the controller or any of these additional buttons. The things that are additional here are going to be these guys down here, and that is more so what I call sniping mode, but they call it sensitivity clutch. Sensitivity clutch is similar to what you get on some of the other pro controllers, where you would hold the button and it creates a sensitivity change for that moment of you holding the button. So if you're trying to snipe and you need to really slow down your sensitivity on your right trigger, you can hold that button and it will slow down that sensitivity so you can get your shot right. Going back to assigning buttons, you can choose any of these, change those, and make it your default. I just keep a standard profile, so I'm not going to change any of these. I would say done. Then in thumbstick settings, you have the prevent double dead zones. I've never really ran into this issue, but I think it's kind of cool that they thought of it. Maybe a lot more people are running into this issue, having double dead zones. But what it says here is this setting helps compensate for software dead zones added by games. It's recommended that this is kept enabled unless you can manually disable dead zones in game. And I'm basically playing COD and NCAA, and I don't really have this issue, so I just keep it on. Circularity mode. This is similar to other pro controllers as well, where you can choose the sensitivity curve of your stick. This is very standard, where you can keep the diagonal directions pronounced, or you can have it circular, which is the default one on Elite Series 2, where it smoothens the motion to create a more rounded movement. So I kept it on standard. Choose whatever you want, test them both out, but that's what it's for. For the dead zones, that's pretty self-explanatory. We talked about that, but one of the biggest things for me here is in dead zones, I like to have my sticks on the lowest dead zone possible. On the standard one, I put it on 1. I would like it at 0, but when you move it to 0, there is native stick drift here. And I think that is because of just the nature of the way that these sticks or Hall Effect thumbsticks are designed. I think it might have something to do with the spring that is in them that makes them just have a natural kind of position. And when you go to 0 here, there's going to be stick drift. And yes, it does carry over to the actual game. It's not just here. I wanted to take a quick break in the action because I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about this, because Razer did put out an update to update the software to where you can go to 0 dead zone and it's not as much stick drift that you see. But still, there is just a little bit of slack in these sticks where you can't get 0 dead zone and it can't snap to the center like you want to. So if you hop into a game, you're going to see this right stick still drifting a little bit. So unfortunately, the fix was a fix. but not a fix. It's just the software corrected it a lot where you maybe could still use this, but it's still going to drift a tiny bit. But if you want it at 0, there's no way to really recalibrate that right now. I know there is for the tournament edition. I definitely recommend checking out the Photo Techie. He is amazing in that he figured out how to recalibrate that controller. So if you have that edition, go check out his video. I'll leave his channel down here in the description below. And yes, let's get back to the action. So I put that on 1, and that keeps it low enough. And then on the other stick, I haven't put that on 1 yet. I'm still testing it out. So I just have it at default on 3. But like I said, test things out, see what you like. The other thing that I wish they had here was maybe a recalibration, because I don't know if that would fix the issue here if I put it on 0. I don't know if I had a recalibration button that it would help that out some way, but maybe not. Seems more of a physical thing. And our haptic strength, this is basically the vibration of your controller. So to feel the vibration of your controller, typically you have the vibration in all 4 corners of your controller, but I really only feel it right in the center of this controller for some reason. I don't know if that's really the case, but that's how I feel it. I'm not much of a haptics person or player, so it doesn't bother me much at all. I just have it there at default because this is the default mode, but I usually play with it on 0. I just keep it here for standard when I'm playing regular games like NCAA or something. And then you can adjust the lighting. This is simply the Razer icon that you see right in the middle of your controller. It doesn't light anywhere else. You can keep this at 100, or you can move it all the way down to 25% or 0. And when you put it at 25%, I actually don't feel like it's a crazy difference. So I just put that at 25. If you don't want the light and you want to just preserve your battery even a little bit longer, put it at 0. Then for animation speed, that is how fast the icon is going to change colors. You can choose slow, medium, or fast. I just keep it standard at medium. And you can choose if it's going to cycle the colors or if it's going to be a static color, or you can just turn it off completely here. And then power saving. Power saving is basically when your controller turns off when you're not touching it. I have it at 15, and this is what it is by default. You can move it all the way up, and that could be a whole hour. I don't think there's a reason to really have that, so I keep it at 15 minutes. Decide what you want. You can also just choose 5 minutes if you want it to be very quick, but 15 is good for me. If you just want to restore everything to default, there you go right there. And then everything is done here. So nothing too crazy with this app. It gives you everything that you need. There are maybe a couple things that could be added, but you have everything that you need in this app, and you can customize a lot on the go. So look at your instruction manual. You can utilize the function button, and you can remap your buttons, or you can also toggle your haptics, the volume, and things like that. So take a look at the instruction manual and figure out those shortcuts are the ones that you're probably going to utilize most. And just another tip, I would say, have multiple profiles. I have just the 2 profiles, my standard one for when I'm playing a regular game, and then COD is the game that I play most, and I am most competitive in it. I'm competitive. I don't say that I'm very good at the game, but I feel I get competitive because I want to be better. So I have just that one profile, and then I have my profile for everything else. Whatever games you play, think about what you want there and make your own profiles for that. That's it for now. Let me know if you have questions about anything that I mentioned here, any issues that you're running into. Feel free to let me know. I would love to hear what everybody else is thinking about this controller and this app. If you are looking for more information and wondering what this Razer Wolverine version 3 is, I created a video right here that you can check out. Feel free to share some love over there too. Peace.